Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic. It's sometimes hard to talk about and to think about, but we need to do this. So it's human trafficking. And with us today we have Rose Davis. You are the interim executive director of She's Somebody's Daughter. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Amy Thurston, you're CEO, co-founder of Hope Inspire Love. Thank you for being here too.
An honor. Thank you.
And you both work together so well on trying to end this. And let's tell everybody what it is, what we need to know, and what we can also do.
Great.
So first of all, what really is human trafficking? Who would like to address that?
Well, human trafficking is where a person is exploited for sexual purposes. And both of our organizations try to fight that. We try to find women that have been exploited and help them, whether getting them involved in services or actually we have a program called Ending the Game where we take these women through to understand how did they end up in being trafficked. Because a lot of women actually don't realize that they have been human trafficked.
Wow. What does that really mean, that they don't realize that?
Well, I think for people that have been traumatized, what we talk about, there's what is called trauma bonding, and Hope Inspire Love also has counselors that are informed in this. When you are experiencing really highs and really lows, you can become bonded to this person. So they may shower you with gifts and love and all sorts of wonderful things, and the next moment they may be hitting you or beating you or sexually assaulting you.
Wow.
And so, unfortunately, that bonds a person, even in a violent way, to another person. And so, a lot of times, these women don't even have categories that this is part of human trafficking. Because for them, it's a normal thing. Or if they have been involved in this from a very young age, they have no idea what's happened to them.
Yeah.
If they've grown up in domestic abuse in their own family or they're a child that watched domestic abuse, that's what they've always known and what they've always seen. And so you can see trauma bonding happens in domestic violence as well. So sometimes people don't know how to differentiate what I'm running from, but then they end up running towards that trafficker because they have that aura, that experience where they seem somebody that they can trust, connect with, fun, energetic, and they are drawn to that again and think that they're safe, and then realize it's the cycle all over again.
Wow. When we say why is it happening, it's because it's a lucrative business. And what the note you gave me, and this I just have to read, it's bringing in worldwide more than McDonald's, NBA, Starbucks, and Target's earning combined. Wow.
Yeah.
That hits you right between the eyes. So how does this happen?
Well,
Kidnapping, family, what are some of these statistics?
Well, we have found that, unfortunately, Hollywood has portrayed it as, a person is kidnapped. They don't need to be kidnapped.
Okay.
We're finding that, many people, it's in a relationship with an older man to a younger girl, kind of a Romeo type of thing, where he builds a relationship with this young girl, and then over time, she becomes sexually exploited, and then it's like, hey, you need to, for our future, or for whatever's happening, you need to have sex with my friends, or so you need to bring in more money. So we're seeing about, a big chunk of that is that type of relationship. Unfortunately, we're now seeing about 39% is families exploiting their own children, which is horrifying. And the very small slice is really statistically 8% or lower, even 1 to 2%, are basically, it happens through this idea of kidnapping.
Yeah, and when you said about, such a lucrative business, because there's the demand, you have the buyers. So the reality is there are people out there buying sex. Our society has downplayed the value and importance of sexuality and sex and intimacy, where pornography is fueling this. And so because there's the demand, you have the buyers. So the traffickers are out there because it makes money. It's something that they can say, hey, this isn't just a one-time deal. I can sell this individual over and over again. And on average, it's about 7 times in one day of the sales that they're making from one individual. And life expectancy for that individual who's been in that lifestyle is only 7 years because of the trauma and the abuse that is done to their body. So if you're starting with a young child and they've been abused and they've been neglected and they grow up realizing their body has no value and they don't even realize what else can I do with my life, that's all they think that they're known for. So they're easy targets. Individuals are easy targets because they're looking for that love and acceptance. And so they'll show that love and acceptance in sexual ways because that's what was such a skewed view in their life growing up.
Wow. There are some statistics here I'd like to bring up too. We're talking about who this is, the perpetrator. People with no prior convictions, 68%. This is from U.S. District Court. 92% male, 69% are between the ages of 25 and 49, and 60% are white. Wow.
Well, what does that do for you when you hear, I mean, you're reading that, and what did you originally assume a trafficker may look like or be?
Not necessarily this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Wow. The counties in Pennsylvania with highest trafficking, according to the numbers, Berks, Dauphin, Chester, Delaware, Blair, Montgomery, Philadelphia, and Lancaster.
Yeah. Now, remember, too, this is what's reported. There's so much that we don't know that are reported, too. Like for every, tip on the trafficking hotline.
Right.
For example, in the area I live, we have 238 open cases. Only one of them came through the hotline. So we're looking at maps, like Polaris has a map of where it's taking place in the country. It's lit up. But there's so many areas that we just don't even have the statistics about really how much is going on. We probably are underreporting it rather than overreporting.
I 100% agree. And something that we were talking about earlier is that majority of those that we serve have not reported it. And that is not something we ask them to feel that they have to do because what you are reawakening trauma that they may not be ready to report or want to report. So it's really important for our community if they see something to report it and what they see. And they're helping in creating documentation because a lot of these individuals don't have a storyline of what has really happened, so it can't really be prosecuted. And so when you're seeing all these counties, and with Lancaster, just to you mentioned Lancaster, a lot of times that's the reason that you're seeing it through here because you're driving through on 30, the court, they're coming through Philadelphia, Jersey, across. But what we've heard from the women is the men are nicer in Lancaster County. They're family men. They're kind to them. And so that you're seeing this increase, and those that own the motels and businesses here, they pay on time. So people turn a blind eye to the truth of what's really happening.
Wow. Well, let's get what this relationship is and how it works together so well to make a difference. Somebody's daughter does exactly what, Rose?
So we go out and find women that have been exploited, whether it's online. We will visit massage parlors, we will visit nail salons, we will visit homeless encampments or unhomed encampments. Basically, we will go to jails, we will go to rehab centers, we go to places that we know that women are exploited, and we try to build relationships with them and tell them, you are of value and we care about you, and if there's any way we can help you, we want to come alongside you. So that's what we do.
And Hope, Inspire, Love does what?
Yeah, and I always love what they do. It always gets my heart excited. And we're the ones on the other side. That's the beautiful warm handoff that if an individual has been identified as being highly at risk for being trafficked, exploited, or actually trafficked, they can be referred to our organization. That referral source is, prisons, hospitals, other agencies, schools, our partners in this work, the Attorney General's office. If they have referrals, they fill out a form, send it in. And the beauty is that survivor does not have to tell us their story all over again. It's already documented. We know what's going on, and we say we want to meet you and focus on the future and your healing goals. And so all of our trauma-informed care is done through evidence-based models, walking one-on-one with each individual with a mentor that does life with them for a minimum of a year. Wow. And the beauty of that is our mentors are all volunteers. And that came from a teenager. We said to them, what would you like in a mentor? They said somebody not old, which I'm going to get back to that in a second, and somebody not paid. Everyone in their life is paid to spend time with them.
Okay.
The old part, I said, what's old? They said 35.
And I went, that interesting? Okay.
Wow, you describe old as 35. They felt that if they had somebody older, they would understand what they've walked through, or judge them from choices that they made due to the circumstances that they've been in. Our best mentor is a grandma because she's experienced life. And so through our mentoring program, we have staff, board members, and volunteers that all have lived experience in various areas that can walk with those individuals a minimum of a year, not mandated, by choice. And then they can extend that for more and more years, they can extend that however long that they would want those services.
Okay. I want you, if you're watching, to write down she'ssomebody'sdaughter.org. Also, hopeinspirelove.org. These are two websites that can be resources for you with this. We've got a lot more to talk about. We're going to do that right after this quick break. Stay with us. Welcome back to Behind the Lines. We're talking about human trafficking. We're here with Rose and we're here with Amy. And we've been talking about how this happens with grooming in places and statistics. But there's a certain attitude about this. We need to dispel this myth.
Yeah, I think it's we also have to check our own personality of, like, we look at some women that's caught up in human trafficking, and unfortunately people will say, well, you know, she chose this or she wanted to do this type of thing. And I think we need to really recognize no woman at any stage in her life just goes, I want to be human trafficked, right? No. They've gotten into this through situations. So, for example, maybe she's been groomed this way. Maybe she came from, we talk about child, experiences like traumas that take place in their lives that make that easier for them, for a trafficker to come in and swoop in and try to, quote, help them when actually they want to exploit them.
Right.
So I think we have to look at compassion on these women. They have been backed into a situation and they need help, our help coming alongside them, telling them they're valuable, they're worthwhile, and we want to bring along all sorts of organizations and things to help them be able to make a different choice and get out of this. For example, if a woman is caught in prostitution, we go after her and we give her a felony charge. She can't get a job. She can't get an apartment. She can't get out of this situation. Instead of, actually going after the trafficker or the person that's buying this person.
Right.
So I think it's just a changing of understanding that we're really both passionate about, that we want that change to not only as we look at these women, but also that laws are passed so that these women can get out of these situations if that's their desire.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
I think we need to look at what we can do to make a difference too. So let's give some thought to this too. Some of the things like indications of trafficking. What do we want to look for? If we see someone, or what is it?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many things. What I always tell people, look for, say, an older man with a younger woman. If you see that, my husband and I were traveling recently and I saw a situation and I had, red flags. I'm like, this older guy, she obviously doesn't know his name because he left something behind and she's chasing after him. Hey. And it had just red flags all over it to me that this person doesn't know this person. She's younger, he's older. This looks like a trafficking situation.
What I encourage people to do, we have a flyer that says 16 key indicators of what trafficking looks like. And it's important you can download that online. You can look at our websites and see all of this that our organizations have, how to spot this. But if they don't have any identification, do they have their own backpack? Do they have a phone? Do they know where they are? Are they transient? I always tell healthcare workers, when you're asking what their address is, how long have they lived there, talking about relationships, who the person it is that they're with, getting to know, if you know the person, kind of know their story. If you're watching from a distance, what seems off? My husband saw somebody that was labor trafficked and sex trafficked, and it wasn't right away with the labor trafficking. He had to build upon a rapport with this individual to learn more of what brought him here, what he's doing, who he's living with. With the young girl that was trafficked, it was observing the situation, where they were, what she was wearing, how the person that was with her was controlling the situation and the narrative. So I tell our community, the more you learn, the more you know. So we encourage people, learn, take the steps to spot the signs, but get more education. The more we can shine a light on this, we will literally, darkness will not be able to be there anymore.
Yeah. Some of the other indications that were listed here were signs of physical abuse and bruises, excess cash with no explanation, new clothes, shoes, purses that couldn't obviously be afforded, that sort of thing. Branding tattoos as well.
There's specific branding areas on bodies, and that's what we train to, on how to spot which ones are on necks or on faces. Dollar signs, you've
barcode.
Barcode, various ones that you can look at. And a lot of times they can be hidden.
Okay.
So we tell hairdressers, when you're washing someone's hair, is there pieces of hair missing where somebody has pulled out the hair, or there's markings, things like that. When you're being able to see some of those signs, that's usually more hidden, but somebody that's getting close and that can see and observe, can recognize those as well.
Okay. And this happens various places. I mean, it's all around, right?
Oh, yeah.
Rose?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It says hotel, motel-based online ads, illicit massage spas, residence-based commercial sex, pornography, all of those things too.
And online is, I think, just something that we really need to encourage, your viewers too, is that some of you have young teen girls and boys, and you need to know what's going on. Who are their friends? What are they doing online? They may be talking to a 55-year-old pervert, and they think they're talking to a person their age. Yeah. We had a situation where a person was trying to groom a person's son by watching pornography. And the parents had no idea what was going on. And this is a family who cares about their kids and wants the best for their children. And fortunately, they found out what was happening and were able to get help.
Yeah.
But it's something, I think, as parents, all of us need to talk to our kids and our grandkids, and we need to say to them, there is nothing, if you are involved in something, there is nothing that will make me love you less. But you need to tell me if there's something bad that has happened, so that we can get help. And there's nothing wrong with you telling us really hard things.
Right. And having age-appropriate conversations. The younger you start this conversation, it becomes part of your life. We have a young daughter, and she knows about, you can't take your iPad in the other room, you can't play on games, and it's early on, we're just saying safety. And now when friends come over, hey, we can play that game, but we're going to play out here. Or you can go get your device, but I can't log on, but I can play right next to you. So you're not saying no to everything, but learning and understanding age-appropriate conversations and online safety of what apps, what gaming, so you can understand what your kids are doing, and actually it's a connection. One undercover detective said the best thing you can do is go home and love your family. Be there, help your kids understand, and be present so they know what safety looks like.
Yeah. One of the other things we started to talk about before we went on to the show was a family password.
Oh, I love that,
Address that.
So I have 3 sons that are grown, and I had a password that if they were at some sort of gathering or party or anything and things were going sideways, they could call me and use that password in a sentence, and I would know, oh my goodness, I need to go to that house, I need to make an excuse for my child and say, we need him at home, the family situation has come up, so that they knew they could get out of difficult situations if needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
How you and your husband started this.
Yeah, 2017, my husband was on the way to a job interview on the subway and saw an older gentleman, just like you're saying, with a younger girl. She wasn't dressed for the right season, didn't have a backpack, a phone, was looking down. And at one point, my husband was able to lock eyes with her. And it was so heavy and dark in what he saw that he actually had to look away, and he felt guilty for looking away. But he said it got him to the core. At one point, he was able to look back into her eyes And when he did, the trafficker saw this, grabbed her, and got off the next stop. People often ask, well, why didn't he do anything? Well, he was a man himself, and he didn't want to put more fear in that young girl's mind or heart. And also, he didn't know what that trafficker could do. So our job isn't to rescue, right? All of us in society that, we see those movies that it looks like that. But the reality is you need to understand what's going on, how to report it, and realize that one day, and we still believe and pray that we're going to see her.
Yeah.
And I know Steve wishes and prays that she will walk through our doors.
Yeah.
But we always say passion for the one is what led us here. It's to change lives that keep what we're doing going.
Absolutely.
And so that one is each one that we get to serve, the one that we see and that we show up for.
Okay, we're going to send to websites and briefly tell us what you're going to find on shesomebodysdaughter.org. What are we going to find there?
Well, we're an organization basically that goes out and tries to find exploited women. So we have all sorts of things on the website, from interviews to how to figure out what is human trafficking, how to diagnose it, those type of things. And basically, if you want to get involved in this mission, we have plenty of ways for you to get involved, whether it's something as simple as giving money or as simple, I want to volunteer, I want to help women. And you can do that.
So we can do that. HopeInspireLove.org. What are we
Yes.
going to find?
If you go there, you are going to be able to find resources of how to spot the signs. Also, 31 days of prayer and journal that you can follow along. January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. You can follow along with us for those 31 days. And the beautiful part is various organizations and individuals have helped with those prayers and the scripture that go along with it. On top of that, you can shop with purpose. We have items that are survivor made or survivor inspired.
Okay.
So if you want to purchase with purpose this holiday season or for birthdays, go online and able to employ over 30 survivors from various different organizations that we partner with, as well as women that are in our services. And you can then find ways to get involved. How can you serve at Hope Inspire Love, and how can you give back? We have gift cards that are used for buses, Uber, getting women groceries and diapers, just basic necessities and food that individuals can help give back towards.
Well, I think we've given some information of what we can be aware of and connect and how we can make a difference. And one of the things you brought up, I think we need to stress again, is how we deal with our own family units and those that we're close to.
Right.
And making sure that our children and grandchildren feel comfortable to come to us about anything.
Right.
Not to be judged or pushed away. And I think if we can foster that, we can make a difference.
Absolutely.
Too.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you both for being here.
Yeah, it's an honor.
Thank you for being here too. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.